Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Royal Highnesses who are still with us, President of the UN General Assembly, John William Ash, colleagues who are with us here, thank you very much for the opportunity indeed to say thank you to all of you for coming to be with us in this hour of grief and sorrow and mourning, but also celebration of our leader, our father, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. We feel comforted indeed that you are here in your numbers to be with us as we say goodbye to Madiba. Madiba is the son of the soil of this country, of this continent, and indeed of the world. He developed in the struggle, literally growing through the ranks to become one of the leading icons in our country. He belongs to the ANC, the African National Congress, the oldest liberation movement in the continent. In his own words, as we have heard, he would say about his organization that he loved so much, that the day he died, when he gets to heaven, he would look for a branch of the ANC so that he joins. But if there was no branch, he will work hard to establish one. That tells you how much he loved the ANC, partly because the ANC molded him to be what he became. ANC had a reservoir of leaders, many of them who played different roles, and many of them, the roles have not been prominent, others prominent. Just a layer before Tambo and Mandela was a generation of Chief Luthuli. In 1959, when it was clear that the racist regime in South Africa was becoming harsher with time, the National Executive Committee of the ANC took a decision to open up a new campaign, which they called the International Campaign, to mobilize the international community
in 2009
to isolate South Africa. The decision to isolate South Africa was taken by the National Executive Committee of the ANC in 1959 under the leadership of Chief Luthuli. A year thereafter, in 1960, the regime outlawed the ANC and other political organizations. They banned. It was a huge debate from the membership to the leadership. What do we do? Do we close shop? Do we change the name? Our colleagues in the then Rhodesia, north and south of Rhodesia, had gone through an experience that their organization, when they were banned, they changed names from one to the other. the debate was, if you did that, that new organization will also be outlawed, because it is not the name as such. It is the ideas and the values that we stand for that were a problem to the racist regime. It was during that time that two critical decisions were taken and entrusted to two of the leaders. One, Oliver Tambo, to implement the decision taken in 1959, was then tasked by the National Executive Committee in 1960 to leave the country. He was then the deputy president to Luthuli, and go and lead a campaign outside to mobilize the international community to isolate South Africa. That was the beginning of the relations that we began to develop. It was not an easy task, but the National Executive Committee felt this task needed to be given to a kind of leader of Oliver Tambo's caliber. He crisscrossed the globe, and many of you met him as he campaigned against South Africa. With his colleagues, of course, but he made such a contribution that earned us the support and introduced us to the globe. As you will recall, that time the world was divided into two. It was East and West. He went to both sides, and there were interactions. Whilst he had just left, the debate about what we needed to do began to rage more strongly within the organization. A critical decision had to be taken. How do we continue the struggle? Among many, Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu in particular, argued for the armed struggle. And it was not a small debate, it was a huge debate which involved the entire Congress alliance. And finally that decision was taken, because one of those who argued very vehemently was Nelson Mandela, that the time had come for us to engage in armed struggle against the regime. And again, the National Executive Committee took a decision to entrust Nelson Mandela with the task to establish the new vehicle of fighting for our struggle. As a big debate, how do we say the ANC, which has been the non-violent struggle, must now be a violent struggle? The decision taken was that we establish a military wing of the ANC, so that it is not the ANC as the mother body. The reason why Mandela was chosen is because in 1952, when the ANC decided to act by defying the unjust laws, Mandela was appointed the volunteer-in-chief to lead the volunteers to defy the unjust laws. He had shown bravery, he had shown how much he was a strategist, at the same time, how to develop tactics. So these two leaders, they were given two tasks. One, to mobilize the international community was very important because it included, among others, to find the resources for the struggle to be conducted, the military struggle inside the country. So they became outstanding leaders. The leader before them also was recognized by being given the Nobel Peace Prize in 1961. When Luthuli won the Nobel Peace Prize, unknown to many, he was part of a very serious, raging debate about the arms struggle. And he was part of that decision. Of course, Mandela, having been given this task, he had to execute it. Firstly, as he always does, he always wanted to prepare people, as he did now, shortly before he passed away. He addressed what we call All-In Convention. It was a national coming together of the oppressed in Pietermaritzburg, where the regime had decided to pull out of the Commonwealth, to declare republic. And that's when he indicated that perhaps the time has come for us to wage the armed struggle. He called 3 days stay away. He was already operating underground, and he left the country thereafter to the continent, and he went as far as Europe and England in particular, where he himself received military training. When he came back, shortly thereafter he was arrested. This was one of the first moments that Mandela came into the open, because he had to face trial in 1962, charged with incitement as well as leaving the country without proper documents. And therefore, on his own, he was tried. He has this capacity to say things that will make you understand. Because whilst he was being accused, he accused the court that he was a black man in a white man's court, and therefore there will be no fair trial. He was convicted 5 years, and he started 7. He was the first prisoner to be sent on Robben Island to go and serve. An island that has been designated that all troublemakers will be sent there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.